So it's that time of the year where I get a week off work and get a chance to put my feet up for once. Me and my wife are looking for a nice hotel that's not expensive to stay at while we visit Daytona Beach in Florida. It was pretty expensive for everywhere we looked, and we were on a budget. We didn't want to spend too much, and all of these hotels weren't meeting our criteria. She said her friend used this app called Airbnb where you can rent out people's places for cheaper. She was right, because after downloading Airbnb, we found a lot of great prices, and all we needed was just one room to stay at for a week. The only catch was that it was just a room that we would be renting out and not the entire house. So that means there might be other people in there as well. The one we found was fairly close to the beach. We agreed and paid for it. We made sure to pack everything before we left because we weren't coming back for a while. I got all the swimming trunks, towels, sunscreen, and our phone chargers. It was about a 7-hour drive since we were coming from Georgia. When we got to the place, it looked okay. Not the best vacation home to stay at, but it was a room for us to stay at while we enjoy our time at the beach. Out of the 2 bedrooms in the small house, we got one on the back and there was one in the front, which we walked past and the doors were shut. I think someone else might be renting out that room, and they must be gone to the beach as well. Oh well, I didn't care. Me and my wife unloaded all of our stuff from my SUV and into our little room. We got all of our clothes that we need, beach stuff, and now we were just missing food. The first day here, we weren't going to do much besides settle in and get food since the long 7-hour drive already killed us and we just wanted to crash. We left the house and looked on Google Maps for a nearby grocery store, and not too far away, maybe a few miles down the block, was a Walmart. This was perfect because we were just going to buy food and snacks and bring it back into our room. I'm glad one of the good amenities about this place was that it had a fridge and a microwave for us to use. So we grabbed a big pack of white rice, some rotisserie chicken from the deli, a few bags of chips, and we were on our way back. Upon pulling up, however, we did notice a car that was parked in the driveway, so I was assuming it was the other Airbnb people. When we unloaded the groceries and walked inside the door, it was still shut, and we could hear some mumbling going on in the room. At the same time, when they heard the door open, the voices stopped abruptly, and there was nothing but silence. Me and my wife didn't move a muscle, and nor did anyone or anything on the opposite side of that door. I was waiting for a response, but nothing. Things got insanely awkward, too fast, so I broke the silence and just said, "Honey, was everything from the back of the car inside?" She said, "Yeah," and we closed the door, shut it, and walked into the kitchen to put our food in the fridge. The fact that we put everything away and went back into our room without hearing a single sound coming from that room was very strange. Maybe they just were shy people, so we respected their privacy. After playing around on Google Maps, apparently we found out there's a cemetery close to this house we didn't know about. It was interesting and strange at the same time. After a while, we both knocked out together on the bed until I got woken up by some disturbing noises. It sounded like it was coming from the kitchen. It sounded like they were trying to cook something up this late at night. It would be weird introducing myself half awake in my pajamas. I needed to empty my bladder anyways, so I opened the door and went outside. "Hello?" I said in a soft and creaky tone. It was dark and I could barely see anything. I flicked the lights on and no one was in the kitchen. It was just me standing there, alone, in the middle of the night, talking to myself. I must have been losing it tonight because apparently we weren't alone. There was a bowl of cereal on one of the kitchen table with milk on it. It looked fresh, as if someone helped themselves to a nice meal but left. I can see the other door to that room, which was still shut but had some light beaming under it. Again, this was weird, and I ignored it and went to the bathroom and back to bed. When my wife woke up the next morning, she was asking me what happened to all of our chips we bought yesterday. I was confused because we didn't even snack on them. She led me to the kitchen and it was all gone. Not one trace of it. Oddly enough, our big bag of rice we bought was missing too. It was like we'd been robbed blind. Now, what are we supposed to eat for breakfast? I was pissed. I knew the other people were the only ones in the house. I went over there and knocked on the door. No answer, and the door was locked. I peeked outside, and there was not a car in sight besides our little SUV. Where else are they? They must have left somewhere. Me being the man in a relationship, I told her I'll deal with this later. We got ready and left to eat at McDonald's for breakfast, which wasn't that bad. I told her let's just enjoy our vacation time here while we can and not let the little things bother us. We set forth to Daytona Beach, and boy was it beautiful. The sun was out, my wife lathered my entire body with sunscreen, and I was ready to just relax for once. We found a nice spot away from people to set up our umbrella and chairs. I laid down next to her and we both popped a bottle of beer and just kicked back. It was amazing, and one of the only times I get to enjoy the view like this. Nice light waves crashing against the shore and the sounds of peace and tranquility. Or that's what I thought until the stupid incident that happened this morning popped up in my head. I couldn't remove the thought out of my head. It was starting to creep me out. So I asked my wife what she thought about it. She just told me maybe they thought it was their food and took it by accident. It's a possibility, but I disagree. It seemed intentional. Come to think of it, we've never actually met them or seen their faces. These mystery people were starting to haunt me. While we were talking, I noticed a strange guy on the other side of the beach near the shoreline covering his head with a piece of cloth, as if he was trying to protect himself from the sun. He kept looking at us like we knew him and walked slowly away, still staring. I guess picking a secluded spot away from everyone else didn't work. Apparently, we weren't far enough. By the end of the day, when the sun was getting ready to set, we packed up our stuff and got ready to leave. I enjoyed my day very much. Since we didn't have food, we just decided to go eat out at this one Italian restaurant for the night and then head back to our Airbnb. When we got there, we could see that other people's cars were in the driveway now. Apparently, they were home. We walked in and knocked on the door trying to confront them. I knocked and said, "Hello? Anyone in there?" No response again. I was thinking to myself, there was no way these people could be in there. What else can they be? I checked our room and thank God nothing was taken. I had no clue where they could be hiding at. Their car is literally outside. They have to be in this house somewhere. It wasn't even a big house either. The only thing left to check was the attic, and there was no way I was going up there. This was none of my business anyways because it wasn't even my house. We just shrugged it off and took a shower. I was debating on canceling this Airbnb early and just spending the extra money on a hotel. I couldn't deal with this anymore. I finally went to bed hoping the next day would get better, but the opposite just happened. In the middle of the night, I got woken up by strange noises again coming from outside. My wife slept through it, but not me. I couldn't go back to sleep, so I opened the door slowly and took a quick peek outside. I could see shadows moving around the kitchen, but there wasn't anyone or anything in sight. I locked the doors and went back to bed, cuddling my wife until the next morning came. I canceled my Airbnb and told the host about everything that happened. I got my money back easily, which was a relief because I ended up spending the next few days at a nicer hotel, which I knew had other people in there for sure. We enjoyed the rest of our vacation afterwards with no more trouble. The staff was friendly, everyone seemed welcoming, and the rooms were a lot nicer. However, the one thing that frightened me the most was when I asked the Airbnb host about who else was renting out the other room. His response destroyed me from the inside out. He said the other room is supposed to be vacant. There shouldn't be anyone else staying in there.